We can also start broadcasting Portuguese, Mandarin, and Bahasa Indonesia. So again, we do both terrestrial and digital broadcasting. But one of our major challenges is our facility both here in Lugi and in Lagos have issues. But I'm working with my team to provide some of my terrestrial platform until the government will come to call for a special request and for intervention so that we can contribute to our work. I just want to once again welcome you for thank you for your time, for coming to see us. Yeah. We move to the conference hall, and there we go down to the office. We also go to the studio. Our studio will broadcast both here and then the Lagos office. We share the hours of our broadcast. We have some of our staff in Lagos and also here, so we will change the broadcast. But in all languages.
Hence, public trust in governance, which can be a prerequisite for effective policy delivery, and to institutionalize notable accountability in public business and monitoring effectively the implementation of the national budgets, and to direct and prevent abuse of public funds on behalf of the citizen, and to recheck government's claim to the implementation. We'll be visiting other outstations, and by the time we want to do that, we'll communicate to you. And after this, after our meeting and deliberations here too, we'll move to Lugbe. Yeah. That's your branch in Abuja area. So have a sightseeing and see how things are being around here.
Visited you. He was not around at that meeting, and later on I have to go and see in the office. I was so pleased, and we had discussion on how I can work with the committee to see how to reposition Voice of Nigeria. And 2 days before his demise, we had actually arranged to meet because we have a lot in common. He has a polo, he has polo pony where my children go to also learn how to play polo, and we had agreed to meet at the polo club before I heard of his demise. I just said I should condole you on behalf of all of you. May his soul rest in peace. And I reward him with Al-Jannah Fidawsi. It's a personal loss to me as a friend and someone that I'm very proud of the way he is. Proud of me. I recall the last thing he said to me, Mr. Chair, was that now that we have the opportunity, we have to do our best to reposition our country. I'd like to also commend you, Chair, and other members for your commitment to seeing that not just Voice of Nigeria, but entire Ministry of Information and National Orientation is repositioned. I see your concern when you talk to me, but even when you engage with us, your concern and other member of the committee is always that enough is not being given to this very important institution in terms of what we do. I have looked forward to this visit with my management, and we are happy to receive you. With your kind permission, Mr. Chair, I'd like to just give you a rundown of the institution. Voice of Nigeria was established by the wisdom of our founding father, understanding the place of Nigeria at independence as a leading light for Africa, and understanding that naturally, by size, by its endowment, Nigeria was destined to play an important role. And Voice of Nigeria was established. Our own respected late Professor Chinua Achebe was the first director when it was established. And again, by the wisdom of our founding father, understanding that increasingly the role of Nigeria will continue to be very paramount, both on the continental and international stage, our founding father decided that Voice of Nigeria should be an independent public broadcast institution, still focused on the same mandate, which is to tell Nigeria and African story in a very deliberate and positive manner. At that point in 1990, late Alhaji Abubakar was the first Director General. He piloted the affair of this very important institution for about 9 years. After that, another respected media practitioner was, at that point, had worked as Commissioner of Information in Ogun State, Baba Taiwo Alimi, who is resting now very well in Shagamu. I visited him just last month, was appointed as the second Director General. After him, Alhaji Abubakar Jujua, who was an industry person, I was actually working here at the Voice of Nigeria, was appointed as the third Director General. He was here for about 10 years. After him, Mr. Sam Wolu was appointed as Director General. His tenure was about the shortest so far in the history of Voice of Nigeria at that point. And from him, my immediate predecessor, who spent about 7 years, Mr. Kichuku, was appointed as Director General by President Muhammadu Buhari. And President Bola Ahmed Tinubu appointed me as the 6th Director General on Thursday, October 19, 2023. And I resume on Monday, Mr. Chair, October 23, 2023. Voice of Nigeria has a staff strength of about 1,000 and I think 60. This is the headquarters. Before now, the headquarters of Voice of Nigeria was in Radio House, where you have Ministry of Information and National Orientation, FRCN, and then Voice of Nigeria. But my predecessor, working with the federal government, was able to get this property, which was a seized property by EFCC, and then the entire management and staff of Voice of Nigeria moved here. I'd like to also let you know, Mr. Chair, that the headquarters, the old headquarters of Voice of Nigeria, which was the broadcasting house in Lagos, still remain. And even as we stay here, the Voice of Nigeria, we have 15 directors. 4 of these directors are in the Lagos office. Director Training, Director Audit, Director Public Affairs, and Director ICT. Other directors that are here include Director Finance, Director Program, Director News, Director Human Resources, Director Digital, Director Operation, and others. So we have 15 in number. We also broadcast both between our studio. We have studio here. We also have studio in the Lagos office. So we broadcast. We share the broadcasting hours between Abuja and Lagos. And since it was established, the broadcast has been 8 languages, 4 local, again by the wisdom of our founding father, understanding that under the categorization of languages, there are languages that you call major languages in Nigeria, which is the Hausa, Yoruba, and Igbo, and we do those broadcasts in those languages, and then full day. And then internationally, because again, naturally, English is our mother tongue, we broadcast in English, and then French, understanding our place within the African context, in our place within particularly surrounded by Francophone-speaking countries. We broadcast in French, we broadcast in Arabic, and then Swahili. And since my resumption, understanding the global trend in terms of how Nigeria relates with countries, I see the place of China, particularly on the African continent. I'm also working with the Chinese embassy through their government to also start broadcasting Mandarin and also Bahasa Indonesia and Portuguese. one of the things that I discovered as a reporter on the beat and interacting with our colleagues around the world is that news about Nigeria get to other countries through what we call third generation. They don't get news through content sharing from our own platform. They rely on other platforms who are busy telling their own story or shape our narrative based on how they want us to be seen and perceived globally. So as Voice of Nigeria, my step and the things that I've been doing with your support is to ensure that consistently we work with existing partnership with all media organizations across the globe. And in the last 6 months, this is my assumption, I am activating and building new partnership with organizations similar to ours around the world, like Voice of America, BBC, Russian broadcast, Radio France International, based on existing relationship and see how we can deepen relationship. For instance, just recently, I visited the Tanzania embassy because they are our gateway to the Swahili speaking East African country, and many of our staff here are learning Swahili. To deepen down, we want to even start exchange program. So I just thought I should give you all this background for you to know what we're doing. I also want to Voice of Nigeria too, in the past, as you know, Chair and other members, in the past, all broadcast institutions, both public and private, rely largely on what you call terrestrial platforms. But now, with information technology, Voice of Nigeria, I'm pleased to inform you, also have a very robust digital platform where we also share our story and tell our story through various apps. But I'm determined, also understanding that in building media landscape, you have to understand the dynamic and the context in which you operate. And understanding that despite the advent of technology, we still have people in our rural community who rely on terrestrial platforms all over Africa. So we have been working to ensure that we bring our terrestrial platform, which you are going to see in Lube. And when I came on board, because of the technicalities involved, I have been working with my team, and as I speak with you, we have worked very well to ensure that we bring back one of those platforms so that we'll be able to broadcast on our terrestrial platform before we now come to you for a special intervention. We wanted to show that we can, at least using our resources, human resources here, be able to do something. Mr. Chair and other members, we have offices in all the geopolitical zone. For the North Central, we have in Benue and Niger. Northwest, we have in Kano. For the Northeast, we have in Gombe. South is in Calabar. Southeast is in Enugu. Southwest is in Osogbo. And we have very robust team all working there. In the past, we had one office in South Africa, which was closed under President Olusegun Obasanjo, again because of certain government policy. Before then, both Voice of Nigeria and NAN had in offices all over the world, but we had just in South Africa, which was just to ensure that we're on top of news gathering and working with our team. Mr. Chair, Voice of Nigeria, I want to assure you, sir, and other members that as Director General, I remain very committed to the mandate of and the vision on the founding fathers. And like I mentioned to you when I came to visit you, I remain very determined, working based on what the template set by the Honorable Minister of Information and National Orientation, speaking to the issues that you know is bringing trust to public broadcasts and for people to respect what you do as public institution. But on this, everywhere I go, my focus is to help in fighting fake news, misinformation, and disinformation about our country, our people. But above all, Mr. Chair, I remain focused, working with my team and with your support to ensure that we are very unapologetic about telling Nigeria and African story. If something good is happening in the National Assembly, we should tell the world. If something happening in the executive arm of government, let the world know. Like I always say, when some of you and some of us Nigerians travel, either as individuals, as government officials, because of the perception built around us, the way you are treated because you are carrying green passport, is some of the things that, as Voice of Nigeria, we are determined, working with Nigerian diasporas to ensure that we set the record straight. All over the world, wherever you go in the world, there are Nigeria. There is no country on the continent in this part of the world that you find in Nigeria that is doing. Indeed, there are countries in the world that some part of the sector of the economy will not survive without the expertise of Nigeria. These stories, we are determined to tell all these stories to the world. Mr. Chair, we're happy to receive you. We're happy also to open our books to you, to let you see what I inherited, both asset and liability. But I will also be happy for you to go to Lugbe to see what we are doing there and what we have there. And like I mentioned to you, I also look forward to you visiting our Lagos office and also our facility in Ikorodu, because we cannot achieve what we want to achieve without the support of the National Assembly. And I'm so happy since you came, and I'm not saying this because you are here. You have said this to me privately, and even in your comment, because of your understanding of the place of information in the 21st century. We're in the age of noise, in the age of distortion, in the age of misinformation. No country can be well repositioned if its information management instrument, particularly the public brokers, that should be a buffer for the government if it is not funded, if it is not well positioned. I'd like to thank you once again, the chair and other members, for your visit. I want to assure you, sir, on behalf of the staff of our management, that all the things you have mentioned here in terms of accountability, transparency, and ensuring that people, you are able to bring public trust to this thing, are things that at the Voice of Nigeria we are determined to achieve. And we also want to assure you that we want to work with you, to see that we reposition this institution. Thank you very much, sir.
What are the challenges? What will you point to say that yes, this 10th Assembly has been able to achieve certain perspectives of your mandate?
Thank you. First of all, let's give glory to Almighty God for sparing our life, for keeping us to this day. On June 13 will be 1 year in office that we were inaugurated. And I only want to seize this opportunity to congratulate the President of Federal Republic of Nigeria, Asiwaju Ahmed Bola Tinubu, this year, and as the Vice President, for the good work they have been doing in the country, for the way things are going. It's going better than the way it was before. So that things were somehow bad before he took over the office. And we at the National Assembly took another letter from the whole situation that is in the country. We'll be feeling it right from our constituents, because of the pressure or whatever situation they are facing. We are the one that is carry the burden. They're always calling us, request for one thing or the other. But by and large, we thank God that the country is still moving, the economy is improving. Then at the House of Representatives too, a lot of these are discussed. One of it is the student loans. That very soon, the youth of this country, as youth, the student, we started benefiting from the loan from federal government, which should enable them to be able to pay their school fees, buy textbooks, and do some other things that are difficult for them to achieve. And I believe with this is one of the achievements. I can say that the 10th Assembly has been able to achieve, and a lot of other bills too are still there. The Constitutional Amendment Bill is ongoing. Then the Electoral Act too is ongoing. Very soon before the next election, the Electoral Act must have been completed and signed by Mr. President. I equally have the hope and belief too that before the end of our tenure, the Constitutional Review Committee would have completed their activities on looking at the grey area in our constitution to ensure that the country is well positioned where we are here today, to ensure that all the policies of governments are well carried out accordingly, and to ensure that we give our support, we lend our support to all the agencies in the area where it is needed. Maybe being amendment of their heart to ensure that they be able to perform effectively, and ready to do that. Then in the area of passing the appropriation bill, for them to be able to carry out their day-to-day activities without any hindrances, we do that, and that is one of the reasons why we are here. But the only constraint we have in the committee has to do with the budgetary allocations, which is so meaningful. When we look at this information ministry, it's one of the ministries that the audience.
So is it part of your plan to ensure that
so part of what we are looking at is to ensure that their budget is well improved on, so that they'll be able to have enough to carry out their day-to-day activities, most especially the national orientation agencies. There are a lot of policies of government that are being formulated, which are the people at the grassroots are not even aware of. So in this area, there are a lot of work to do there, including your agency and Radio Nigeria and others. They are the faces of governments that link the government with the people. So I hope the executive will look into this and do the needful so that they can perform their duties effectively without any hindrance.
I've been talking with the Chairman House Committee on Information, National Rotation, Ethics and Values, Honorable Olufemi Fatoba. Of course, he's been here to on oversight function, and he's been here, not just him alone, but all the members of this committee. So thank you for coming, sir. It's a pleasure. And as here we end this edition of the program. Let us quickly thank you for being here, and we're looking forward to the fact that yes, this committee has come and they will do so much to increase or turn our station around for the glory and then for a betterment of our functions. Once again, sir, thank you for coming. I am Godwin Okar. Bye for now.
So you the Facebook?
Yes.
Check on Facebook.